Long ago, in the kingdom of Kapilavastu, a prince named Siddhartha lived within golden walls. He had everything: luxury, honor, love, and the promise of one day becoming king. The palace was filled with music, fragrance, and beauty, shielding him from the harsh realities outside. Yet, within the prince's heart, a quiet unease stirred. Surrounded by comfort, he felt a mysterious emptiness, a longing for something beyond riches and power. Little did anyone know, this longing would lead him to one of the greatest spiritual journeys in history. Prince Siddhartha's father, King Suddhodana, feared his son might one day turn away from royal duties. To prevent this, the king ordered that his son be surrounded only by joy. Gardens bloomed year-round, musicians played day and night, and servants ensured that sorrow never touched him. But Siddhartha's compassionate heart was restless. He often wondered about life beyond the palace walls. What lay outside the endless celebrations? Why did he feel incomplete, despite having everything? Questions began to grow, and destiny was quietly calling. One day, Siddhartha persuaded his charioteer Channa to take him outside the palace gates. For the first time, he entered the streets of Kapilavastu. There, he encountered an old man, bent, frail, and trembling. Siddhartha was shocked. He had never seen age before. "Channa, what is this?" he asked. The charioteer replied, "This, my prince, is the fate of all beings. Time spares no one." Siddhartha's heart sank. The vision of old age shattered his illusion of eternal youth. A seed of truth was planted in his soul. On another journey, Siddhartha witnessed a sick man writhing in pain. His body was weak, his voice faint. Siddhartha felt deep compassion. "Does everyone suffer like this?" he asked. Channa nodded. "Illness touches every life, regardless of wealth or power." The prince trembled. For the first time, he saw the fragility of health. The palace walls had hidden this truth, but reality was unavoidable. Siddhartha's heart ached, and he began to realize that human life was bound to suffering. Something within him awakened. A few days later, Siddhartha saw a lifeless body carried on a funeral pyre. Smoke rose as grieving families wept. Siddhartha's voice shook. "Is this the end for all?" Channa answered softly, "Yes, Prince. Death is certain for every living being." Siddhartha was overcome with sorrow. He had seen the cycle of old age, sickness, and now death. These truths pierced his heart. No pleasure, no riches could shield him from this destiny. The world seemed filled with impermanence, and Siddhartha's search for meaning deepened. On his final excursion, Siddhartha encountered a serene monk walking barefoot. The man's face shone with calmness and inner peace. Siddhartha was struck by his presence. "Who is he?" he asked. Channa replied, "He has renounced worldly life to seek truth and liberation." A spark ignited within Siddhartha. If suffering was inevitable, perhaps freedom lay in the path of renunciation. This encounter revealed a possibility. There was another way to live, beyond wealth, beyond sorrow, toward peace. Siddhartha's destiny was becoming clear. Despite returning to the palace, Siddhartha's mind could not rest. The laughter of dancers, the fragrance of flowers, and the music of flutes now felt hollow. Each night he thought of old age, sickness, and death. The more he reflected, the stronger his desire for truth grew. He looked at his family, his beloved wife Yasodhara, and his newborn son Rahula. He felt deep love, but also a profound calling. Could he truly leave? Could he renounce all this for the sake of humanity? The night of his decision came. The palace slept under silver moonlight. Siddhartha entered the chamber where Yasodhara and Rahula lay. He gazed upon them tenderly, his heart heavy with love and sorrow. He longed to hold his son one last time, but feared his wife would awaken. With eyes filled with tears, he whispered a silent farewell. In that moment, Siddhartha chose a greater love, the love for all beings suffering in the endless cycle of life and death. Guided by compassion, Siddhartha called for his loyal charioteer Channa. Together they quietly prepared Kanthaka, his noble horse. The palace guard stood unaware as the prince, dressed in silk robes, mounted his steed. Every hoofbeat echoed his struggle, between duty and destiny, between comfort and truth. The world slept, but Siddhartha was fully awake. He was about to cross the threshold that would forever separate him from the life of a prince. The Great Renunciation had begun. They rode through the silent city, streets bathed in moonlight. Kapilavastu's towers faded behind them, while the open road stretched endlessly ahead. Siddhartha felt the cool night wind upon his face, both freeing and sorrowful. Each step of Kanthaka carried him further from the familiar, closer to the unknown. The weight of his choice pressed heavily, but his heart was firm. He was leaving not only a palace, but an entire way of life. Destiny awaited him beyond the horizon. As dawn approached, Siddhartha and Channa reached the edge of a forest. The air was still, filled with the cries of birds awakening to the new day. Here, Siddhartha dismounted. He gently stroked Kanthaka's mane, whispering gratitude. His horse, sensing farewell, wept with loyalty. Channa's heart ached, but Siddhartha comforted him. "Return, my friend. Tell no one of where I go. This path I must walk alone." With tears in his eyes, Channa reluctantly obeyed, leaving Siddhartha to his destiny. Standing at the threshold of the forest, Siddhartha removed his princely ornaments. He unclasped his jeweled earrings, removed his golden sword, and shed his silken robes. Each piece symbolized the weight of worldly attachment. In their place, he donned simple garments, humble and rough. The prince was gone. Before the rising sun, a new seeker was born. Siddhartha was no longer a royal heir. He had become a wanderer, a renunciate, dedicated to discovering the truth of existence. Alone in the forest, Siddhartha felt both emptiness and freedom. The silence was profound yet filled with unseen strength. He reflected on all he had left behind, his family, his wealth, his future throne. Yet he knew this sacrifice was not loss but offering. He had given up the comfort of one family to embrace the suffering of all families. This was no escape, it was the highest courage. He had chosen compassion over comfort, truth over illusion. The sun rose higher, casting light upon Siddhartha's path. Birds flew above, symbolizing freedom. Every step carried him deeper into the unknown, yet closer to awakening. The world seemed vast, and his quest daunting, but his resolve was unshakable. He was determined to find the way beyond suffering, not just for himself, but for all humanity. The Great Renunciation was not an end. It was the beginning of the Buddha's journey toward enlightenment. Thus began the sacred journey of Siddhartha, the prince who left behind palace walls to seek eternal truth. His renunciation was not rejection, but transformation, a vow to uncover wisdom that would free the world from suffering. Centuries later, we still remember that night when he rode away under the moon, guided by compassion and courage. The Great Renunciation remains one of history's most powerful acts of love, an eternal reminder that the search for truth begins with letting go.